Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to get started with the March 28th, 2019 Walton County Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. If we might stand for the invocation, please, and then Pledge of Allegiance. Charles, if you'll lead us, please.
All right. Dear Lord, thank you for all the gifts that you've given our citizens here in this county and in this great nation. Guide us here tonight. Do what's best for our citizens in our county. We hope that you will.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. All right, our first order of business is to read and approve the meetings from the previous meeting that we have here is, am I correct, Ms. Owens, in December 17th, 2018? Okay.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the 17th, 2018 meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Good job. Come on in. Yeah.
Oh, you can cut through puppets.
Zip that out. Okay. All right. We'd like to thank everyone for being in attendance, and in particular, Walton County Planning and Development Services staff, legal staff. I know you're all staying late. Thank you, and those of the general public in the audience. Are there any announcements to be made?
Mr. Chair, as far as on the legal side, my understanding is a couple of the cases may be resolved. The ones on appeal, DeFrances, we'll know more. They haven't resolved, but those may end up being resolved. That's it from as far as the appeals that are outstanding.
Okay. Well, that's progress. Good news. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, we have a couple of continuances tonight, item number 3 and item number 4. If you'd like to take those at the beginning of the agenda.
Yes, good suggestion. Item number 3 is
Yes,
Right,
item number 3, Matt Carpenter for the Planning Department, CARPENTER. The James Cochran Revocable Trust Variance, counsel for this particular applicant has had a medical emergency in their family and couldn't be here tonight, so they requested to continue to next month,
okay.
which will be April 25 at 5 p.m. in this location.
Okay. Motion to continue to April 25th, 2019?
I will make a motion to continue the.
Yes, sir. If we don't open the discussion, I don't know that we can legally do that, Mr. Knight.
Also, sir, if you'd like, in writing, and submit them.
And has not been. I don't believe so. That request can only be made by the applicant. Or, again, Mr. Dykes, is that accurate statement?
Yeah, I mean, the applicant can be, consider it obviously the applicant or county staff.
Well, I appreciate your circumstances. Please do make any further comments in writing or points that you wish to submit. You have time to do so. But at this point, the motion is for continuance. Mac, pardon me, did you have something to add? Okay. Do I have a second?
Twenty-fifth, 2019. Item number. James Cochran Revocable Trust Variance.
A second. And just, then,
Gotta do it tonight.
well, I don't, I think we should honor my opinion is to honor the continuance, but to do so for basically the 30 days.
For the board as well as the applicant, you know, the public as well as the county, is to allow for due process when possible. The applicant, you know, would have an opportunity to ask questions and maybe rebut some of the information that the gentleman may want to present tonight. So,
And I do think with what I've read on the application in question, there are questions that I do think need to be addressed by the board to the board and warrants into that discussion. So I'm in favor of the continuance. Do we have a vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So item number 3 is continued. Item number 4 is also a request for continuance, correct, Mr. Carpenter?
Yes, sir. Counsel for that particular appellant is requesting continuance until April 25th at 5 p.m. in this location. They're hoping to avoid continuing with the appeal,
Okay.
and they're asking for just a little bit more time.
And this is the first time it's been on the agenda.
Yes, sir. Seacrest Pizza, LLC.
Make a motion that the Seacrest Pizza LLC appeal be continued to the April 25th, 2019 meeting at 5 p.m. at this location.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item tonight is the Lee Greeley McKinley Jr. variance, and I'll ask Vivian Shamel to briefly introduce this one.
Yes. If we would at this moment, anyone in the audience who is either willing to speak or may even decide to speak, if you'd be willing to stand and be sworn, please.
and that'll be for both this variance as well as number 2, the Affiliated Development Group LLC variance. If you all stand, raise your right hand. Do you all swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And if you weren't sworn in and you decide to speak, I can swear you in. Just know. The other announcement, Mr. Chairman, I'd make before is just that, as you noticed, we only have 5 members of the board who are present. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mac, we've never changed the requirement that you must have an affirmative vote of 4 members.
Yes, sir. That's still correct.
So what that would mean for anyone who has a variance tonight is if the vote turns out to be 3-2, then you would not get your variance even though a majority voted for it. Our land development code specifically states that you need 4 affirmative votes of this board to overturn or grant any request. And with that being said, normally what we'll do is announce that and allow any applicant who is coming before the board tonight to request a continuance to see if next month we may have a more full board. There's no guarantee. It's a voluntary board, but we do like to give that courtesy to applicants.
And Mr. Chairman, I apologize. I forgot the protocol of this particular board. Since our chairman is not here tonight, he generally requires the applicant to proceed first, followed by the county.
No, don't feel bad. I'm making my way through it too for the first time. Much less than you. Okay, well, then let's proceed with item number 1. Number 2. Pardon me. Do the applicants for items number 1 and number 2 wish to proceed forward with the condition of the vote? Very well. Okay, then let's commence with item number 1. For those who are here to make the presentation, if you'd step forward and state your name for the record, please.
My name is Ryan Garrity. I'm an attorney for the applicant, Mac Lee. We were in here last month. Basically, we were asked to go back and get a second survey because the survey that was of record had some issues with it. After having the variance continued, we contacted the county and we asked that Scott Rosenheim and his survey crew go out to the area and remark the right-of-way that's known as Campbell Street. So they went out there, they did restake and remark Campbell Street. If you guys want a rundown about what they've done, I can explain that to you. I don't know if it's pertinent to this actual variance request, but we do have a good boundary established for the right-of-way.
Well, I don't think, unless the board members or anyone in the audience cares for a detailed explanation, I have looked at both the maintained right-of-way survey and the private sector survey performed on the lot, and that really was, if we recall from last month, the surveys were a little ambiguous in terms of where the defined right-of-way would be, which really, as it turns out, is defined by maintenance, is a responsibility of Public Works, and it does look like, while not uniform or of a nominal width, if we look at the private sector survey, it is a distance of 3.81 on the south boundary and 3.13 on the north boundary, but we do now have that defined in a definite geometric position. So that's the base. That was the issue a month ago, and
Yes, sir.
It looks to me like you have the proper information to proceed tonight.
We do, Your Honor, or, sorry, we do. I also want to state for the record that the actual variance request has changed based on this new survey, the new line that was established on March 25th. So we're actually asking for a 10-foot, 9-inch variance to the front setback and a 3.5-inch variance to the south side setback.
Yes.
So if you look at the survey, you can see that the front door area is 9.27 feet from the setback line.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, we need the 10-foot, 9-inch variance. You calculate that from decimals to feet and inches, comes out to
Okay.
10 feet, 9 inches.
Yes, sir.
So I just wanted to put it in the record that I amended the variance request. The numbers are correct in it,
Okay.
and I just wanted to point that out to the board.
And actually, I noticed that myself before the meeting started. Good point. Well taken.
Ryan, 10 points.
Well, on the,
I
fine with me.
It looks like we're asking for a reduction of the front setback from actually, it depends on which, from a reduction by 10.66 and by 10.73, which would accommodate the 9.34 and 9.27 respectively. And on the south side setback, it looks like we need a reduction or request to reduce by, you can make it uniform there for the sake of 4/100 of a foot. I would request a 1/4 of a foot or 0.25 foot setback.
7.5.
No, I'm sorry, 7.5.
Yeah, 0.25 is 3 inches. So I asked for 3.5 inches just so we weren't setting directly on the line.
And I think your request is perfectly in order with the geometry.
3.5 inches.
Okay. Any questions of the board for the applicant?
No, sir. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't. Anyone else?
I'm seeing some pictures of Azalea Street. Are these?
Yeah, I was going there too. I don't know if you have these photos or if you provided these photos, Ariel.
No, sir.
Vivian, the Azalea Street photos, are they for this project number 2? I think they're just out of order a little bit.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay.
I was looking for, I thought maybe that aerial photograph was pertaining to this, but let me just ask you the question.
Sure.
Which it doesn't show on the survey. And I understand the confusion with where the road is, where the property lines were, so on and so forth. But how does the in-place or as-built condition house, how does it line up with adjacent houses? Is it closer to the road? Is it in line?
It is closer to the road than the houses to the north of it, and it is even with the business that is south of it.
Yeah, you can see
So
that.
my understanding from county surveyor is that some of those lots had a 30-foot setback and some of them had a 40-foot, that even the setbacks haven't been uniform over the years, that originally when they were pulling from the north to survey everything, they stopped using that as a point of reference and they started using one to the south and somehow they overlapped, and that's my general understanding of the surveying issue out there.
And looking at the as-built survey that you have, you've got 27.86 feet in the back, setback.
Yes, according to that, yes.
There's a lot of room there.
But the house is built already. What happened was this entire property went through the permitting process through the county. They poured a slab. They were permitted to do that and passed inspection. Then they were coming back for the framing inspection. And the framing inspection didn't pass because of he thought it was too close to the road.
Okay,
So,
but the initial survey that was turned into the county for permit
yes, sir.
showed the location that as built
Right there, yep.
and was approved.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, at this point in time, would county staff, planning and development services staff, make their presentation and recommendation, please.
Good evening. Know that you heard most of the details last time and that you did want clarification on the right-of-way. I'd like to commend county staff and our county surveyor, Scott Rosenheim, for working with the applicant to give you a clearer picture. I think in certain cases, setbacks can be reduced because there is a hardship, and demonstrates that if you agree with that hardship. Now, the staff does not have any objections granting of the variance.
Okay. Should we, I believe, make a motion to enter staff report into record?
Can I ask Vivian a question?
By all means.
The commercial structure to the south that's built 10 feet from the right-of-way, would they be entitled to build to that 10-foot setback going through the development order process? Is that a normal setback amount for commercial
If
property?
we were reviewing the right-of-way protection as we did for this property, probably it would not qualify for that setback. I'm not sure how old that commercial structure is. It may have been before land development code and the directions that we have to follow. I would need just a little bit more information on that property to give you a qualified answer.
Okay.
So it probably predates the protection of the right-of-way standards.
I know that a lot of those areas have old commercial buildings, but I can't verify that without actually looking up the property.
Okay.
I know that one thing, I know that that is possibly village mixed use. If it's village mixed use, well, we'll wait and see what Matt comes
They're
up
allowed
with.
a 10-foot setback on a village mixed use.
Right, they don't need the same buffer from 30A as other zoning categories.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, the building on the corner would be facing 30A. In BMU, they would have a 10-foot scenic quarter setback from the 30A right-of-way, and we'd be looking at a side setback of 10 feet on the Campbell Street side.
It's in a foot. Okay. All right. Any further questions for staff? Thank you. And we do have another question for the applicant, if we may.
Would the applicant be agreeable to a conditional variance where it was, in the event that the building were mostly destroyed, that the variance would nullify and then you rebuild the new house? Actual setback, likely this variance would only run with the land as long as this house remains standing. If it ever was rebuilt, where you'd have to be.
Would those standards be what would be considered like in the standard insurance policy? If a certain percentage of the house is destroyed, then how would we figure that?
Yes, I believe it's to the effect of, I mean, this may not be entirely accurate, but greater than 50%, and the insurance covered would raise the building rather than repair it.
Okay.
Is that what we have in the county ordinances?
Yes, that would be consistent with non-conforming use.
Right, so instead of them being allowed to always build there if it's ever sold, if it's damaged via storm or fire by more than 50%, then they would have to shift the entire footprint back to go outside of the setbacks. So this would basically be a one-shot for that building as long as it's standing. So it would be conditioned on that.
It would be perpetual, though, if you did sell it.
Correct. I mean, as long as the building's there, it's fine. But if the subsequent owner, it gets damaged, and they come back and they say, well, y'all gave me this variance, I'm going to build right up to the line. No, you're not allowed to. That ran with basically that building.
If this were Mexico Beach after Hurricane Michael, yes, it would be required to conform to the current code in the place at the time of the new building permit.
Applicant agrees to that.
Thank you. Very good. Any other questions of applicant or even staff from the board? And I got this a little bit out of order, pardon me, but is there anyone in the audience from the public that would care to speak to this matter? Seeing none, we'll close public discussion.
Motion to close public discussion.
Have a motion. Second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Motion to grant a conditional variance such that if the structure was ever destroyed more than 50%, that the variance would terminate. But until then, as long as this building remains standing, that we have a
10.73 foot? I did.
the a front variance footprint at from 20 feet to 9.34 on the one side and 20 feet to 9.27 on the other side of the front. From basically a 10.73 variance and a 10.66 reduction. Front side, and then on the side variance, another 3.5 inch side variance for the one encroaching side to run with the footprint that is on the Interlight Engineering Corporation survey dated 3/25/2019, entered into public record so that it show it here.
Okay. I will second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Congratulations, you have your variance.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Make the way. Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, give it a good. Gonna say there was a good hardship there. I think I got cut off, but.
Next is number 2. Okay, we would like to proceed with the second agenda item number 2, and who amongst the audience would come forth and present your application and state your name for the record, please.
My name is Chad Parker with Parker Pools.
And what is it you are after?
Okay, we're after a 1-foot variance on 147 Brenda Lane on a side setback from a 7.5 to a 6.5 due to not being able to put a piece of rock coping on the side of the pool on the concrete structure.
Okay. Pardon me, I'm not a builder, much less a pool contractor. What exactly is a coping? Is it a structural member, or?
Well, you have the structure. Do you have the pictures?
Yes.
Okay, on top of the concrete structure, you have to put something up there, like a piece of stone or rock or something, so it's not so ugly, I would say. And it's just, it goes right on the top of that 12-inch structure.
Would you say it's a necessary component of the pool?
Yes, it is. Basically what it was, the wall on the back side, the barrier wall was on the property 6 inches on the other property, and I was told it was on the property line. So when we did the setback of the pool, it was my fault, because I didn't look it up and check it closer. Therefore, we were 6 inches off, so I was just asking for a foot to put the coping on.
Okay. Have you been in contact with the neighbor to the side? Did they have any objection? Or
No, sir. We sent it to all the neighbors, and basically the builder on the side, there's no objection. You've got I would say it's a 6 or 8 foot cinder block wall that you can't see over, so it's like a jailhouse there. And basically we're going to have one piece, which is the old codes that were changed 2 years ago. It used to be 7.6 for water's edge. Now it's 7.6 for decking. And just asking for 1 foot to make it look better. If anything, it's going to be more presentable to the neighbors.
Our package shows 2 of the site plans prepared for the project, but there's no survey showing the location of the pool. Do you have a survey that shows the pool shell being in the side setback?
Yes, it shows the decking, basically. It should be on the permitted papers. I don't know which, you have it. Then it's in the packet that was mailed out to 31 of the neighbors.
Yeah, I have everything but the survey.
I think I'm on the same page.
The site plan shows the pool's sitting 8.42 feet away from the property line with a pretty significant coping. Like 15 feet away, so the pool either got a lot bigger or just
The
moved
pool
away.
got bigger and the decking got smaller. They have it right. As he was just saying, the decking looks larger here. So yes, the pool got bigger, got pushed out.
We don't actually have a survey of the pool location.
That is the survey.
This document.
Not a new survey, no. We haven't gotten a final survey.
But the problem that I have with giving a variance to the pool location is we don't actually have any data that says that the pool.
Or what would be proposed to be added to the pool?
Yeah, but to get a final survey, to get a final inspection on the pool, we have to get a final survey. Inspector passes the final on that survey, once everything is completed on the house, the driveway and everything. But that has not been done because the driveway or nothing has been put in.
I think you're a little premature on coming forward with a without the survey.
Or a survey of this specific area to verify where exactly the pool is and what it is you're asking for, in addition to therefore confirm that 1, a variance is even necessary, and 2, what exactly would that number in reduction to the side setback be? You even yourself you need 6 inches, but you're asking for a foot. And there, in addition, Charles is correct, we really only are, it's in the best interest of the public to only give the minimum required.
Well, it's within the setbacks, the water's edge is, but the coping would not be. I mean, you could leave it like it is, but not pretty on that side. So that's why I was asking just to put the 1 foot piece of coping on the edge to make it look better, which is needed. I agree with you.
I'm not saying that I'm against hoping in, but we just don't have the data definitively set.
pulled a string from front to back, and that's, what it was. It was give or take a foot, so less than a foot.
Willing to continue until the next meeting and provide like an as-built survey for what's existing and with a
Really just concentrating there on the pool.
showing exactly what will be needed and what's already there, like to pin it down to an exact figure.
Did I just get a survey and turn it in, you guys? When's the next meeting?
Next month.
25th.
We have one a month.
Would have to, but the people that were here before you were in your same boat last time. Their survey, well, they had a survey already, but it was, they were conflicting, and it didn't exactly show what we needed to see. And then they came back again.
Yeah, they're just trying to close on the house is why I was trying
Okay.
to do it. So, I mean, yes, I do have to get I could get a final survey started tomorrow, and I could have it probably in 10 days to show that with the driveway and everything, but
Be the April 25th meeting before we could come back.
do I have to send all the paperwork out to all 31 people around the area and all of that, or is it just?
Yeah.
No, sir, you
Yes,
do not
just
have to
come back before this board is on.
You do not have to re-advertise. It's been re-advertised. It would, it's being continued. And again, really all you have to concentrate in terms is that one boundary line and that one side of the pool, and give us exacting dimensions, what that is presently. If you're going to add the coping, what its dimension is, so we can conclusively determine what the variance to a setback would be at a minimum. Okay.
I mean, if that's what we gotta do, that's what we gotta do. The wall is 6 inches on their side, and that's what I pulled off
Let's just say
on
we
their
gave
survey.
you a 1 foot variance, and it turns out that it's plans. It's just better to get it done right, and then it'll be done.
I agree with that.
I don't
I agree
see
with
this
that
being
totally.
a huge problem for you.
Yeah.
It's just
Time, we understand that, but
Like if you force us to rule on it tonight, and once we rule on it, it's final. So, get a favorable outcome, you'd be fine. If you didn't, you wouldn't.
It doesn't sound like I would, so.
And it is up to the applicant to request a continuance. You can do so verbally right now.
I mean, it sounds like that's my only way out, so, yeah, I guess. I mean, that's what I gotta do, is what I gotta do.
Okay? So,
I mean, it don't sound like you guys are gonna approve it from the
Wait,
3 or 4 people talking.
Yes, on March 12th, after this was advertised, the county adopted changes to Chapter 5. And if I could, this language may resolve the need for this particular variance. Says, in methodology for determining setback requirements, accessory structures and buildings as defined in Chapter 2 of the Land Development Code are subject to the same setback requirements as primary structure, including but not limited to both in-ground and above-ground swimming pools, hot tubs, and similar structures, and any decks or surrounding improvements associated with such accessory structures, except that, and this is sub-item B, decks and patios less than 2 feet above the finished grade on all sides may be placed within the building setbacks, provided they're not located within 4 feet of any property line.
boom.
This was never the old code. This was a previous erroneous interpretation. We changed the code to match what we believe to be the correct interpretation. So is that the new code? This is the new code, which means you don't need.
So Mac, would there be any, it sounds like it's resolved the matter, but to be safe, I mean, if we continued it and then y'all do the math, everything works out, I mean, then
To
we just-
resolve it without you having to come.
Right, we would just take it off the agenda. So, I guess my thought would be if the board wanted to continue it, and then if they go do the math, and for some reason it's off somehow.
You want to get a survey to verify that the water's edge is in fact in 7'6".
Wanted a continuance, you can.
These are all new houses, the pins are at the, final survey's been done on one.
If you ask for a
7-8 from Water's Edge to.
I guess what I'm thinking is an administrative matter, it's probably safer to go ahead and continue the matter, allow you to get with county staff, confirm all the numbers are correct. Obviously, you just heard about the code. And then if this matter is moot, then next month we'll just take it off the agenda, or won't even put it on there. Yeah, it'll just be dismissed, administratively. So, I mean, I'm not your attorney. I'm just saying that's probably the best way to do it, because if you get into a hiccup, then guess what? Next time you're going to have to re-advertise. You're going to pay the fee again, and then you're going to end up having to wait till you get on our agenda.
That'd be a good way to proceed.
like request that continuance.
Sorry, I had no idea the code changed.
That's all right. Would you like to?
No one tells us.
Okay. Would you like to request a continuance?
Continue, and then if everything's good, they'll dismiss it for next time.
Right. Close public discussion.
Motion to.
I'll just make a motion to continue to the April 25th meeting at this location at 5 p.m. next month.
Clarification, at the time this application was made, this code language had not been adopted, and we had no idea if the board was going to adopt that or not. Even at the time we had to advertise for the particular meeting. So it's appropriate that it came this far, but we may have some relief at that time subject to applications.
I believe we have a motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Continuance. And that. Good.
Have to do it with that. It'll probably resolve itself, or maybe.
All right. All right. Well, I believe. Yeah, we did that. Any further business? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Wow.
Good job, Chief.
Your Honor.
Absolutely.